it's a sporting rivalry, which is clearing up thousands of years of inter-island conflict between Scotland and England.
Yes,
so
it doesn't spill out into the streets afterward. Gonna handle it on the pitch.
It used to a little in the 70s, but not anymore.
Hello and welcome to another edition of My Mom Calls It Soccer. I'm Michelle. I'm a Liverpool fan, and I am here with one of our favorite guests we've ever had on, Kyle Miles. Welcome
Hi, everyone.
back.
Hi, thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, and so Kyle and I are both Liverpool fans. That's how we connected. And so right now we're going to talk all things Liverpool. We're through the season. We're looking forward to the next season. And we've had some changes and some things happen. And so I would just love to get your perspective on how you feel about how the season wrapped up, the changes that have happened, and if you have any insight into what you think is coming.
So a couple things there. First of all, you know, unlike a lot of people that were just ready to kick Slot down the road, I genuinely have some sympathy for him. I don't think enough people realize how much he had to deal with. On top of Diogo Jota's passing, he was dealing with injuries. I think there's a crazy stat like Ekitike, Wirtz, and Alexander Isak started less than 90 minutes together, and that was our £450 million budget, basically. So now that is not to say he didn't make a lot of errors. I got really annoyed with him starting Szoboszlai and Jones at right back when we had some other right back options. I think he had the Midas touch in his first season. He made little tweaks at halftime that invariably worked out. He just didn't have it this year. I do have sympathy for him, and unfortunately, though, I think when you've lost that much of the fan base, not just your social media crowd, but in Anfield, it's so hard to come back from. So I do have sympathy for him. I think people are very quick to forget he won the league in his first season, and he secured Champions League unconvincingly, but he got Champions League in his second season. So I think people are very quick to discard the mitigating factors. That being said, I think it probably was time for a change. Selfishly, I'm sad that change wasn't Xabi Alonso, because I loved him as a player.
Me too. And I don't, again, I'm new. You know, that's our whole thing. I'm new to this experience, but what I knew about him, I was disappointed that he was already out of the mix when we got to that point.
So that's an interesting one, right? Because I know, from what I understand, when he was still at Leverkusen, Liverpool approached him to see if he'd be interested in moving. He said not at that time. He stayed put. We ended up going with Slot. Subsequently, he left to take the Madrid job. That didn't go well.
No.
But when he left that Madrid job, and the fact that he was sitting out there for that long, I thought surely they're having a conversation. I don't know if it's a style thing because he's more a possession-based manager. I don't know if it's because he wanted to be a manager and not a head coach. That seems to be the model at Liverpool, where they don't want managers, they want head coaches. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's also they think the way the league has shifted, because the league that Slot came into and Liverpool won looks a little different now. It's much more direct, much more transitional. So maybe they think Andoni Iraola is a better style and a better fit for that. I don't know. I just hope that Liverpool fans give him a chance, because Liverpool fans are amazing, but there is a large portion that are very quick to turn on managers and not give new managers enough time. So
and I think that's common in really passionate fan bases. They don't have a lot of patience when things aren't going well. So I get that. So how do you feel? I'm struggling to pronounce the new coach's name. Chase has been trying to help me. Andoni Iraola.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about him as the choice?
I think it's a risk.
I
like him. I've got a thing for Basque managers, so aside from Mikel Arteta, who's not my favorite, but Xabi Alonso, Iraola, they all played for the same tiny youth team in the Basque country, which is incredible. So 3 of the big 6 Premier League teams are all going to be managed by people from a specific town or region in Spain. I think he has done phenomenally well. I mean, he led his first 8 games at Bournemouth were infamously bad. It took 8 games, I believe, for him to get his first win. But leading Bournemouth to 9th and 6th in back-to-back seasons is incredible.
Yes.
And that's with losing players. Like just this last season, Dean Huijsen went to Real Madrid. Kirkes went to Liverpool. I forget the other defender's name, went to PSG.
Okay.
Semenyo just went to City halfway through the season. So they've lost tons of attacking talent and defensive talent and still done that.
Still did well.
So I think he's a risk, much in the same way Slot was. I hope we give him time. He backs himself. He's just signed a 2-year contract. So, I mean, he didn't sign a 3 or 4 or 5-year contract. So I think he believes in himself. I think he's got the right. Already what he's saying, I feel bad for Slot because he wasn't a Klopp, right? He didn't connect and resonate with the fans the way Klopp did. I think Iraola is going to strike that balance of like showing a little bit more outwards passion while still being pragmatic and kind of cool-headed. So we'll see.
Kind of going back to Slot, this is again a question as a new fan and trying to understand player movement in the Premier League as opposed to player movement in leagues in the NFL and Major League Baseball, things I'm familiar with. Is it fair to feel like Slot in his first year had success because of what he inherited from Klopp, or does he get full credit for that?
I think the truth's somewhere in between.
Okay.
So I'm not a fan of this notion that some people say of like, oh, he just won with Klopp's team.
Sure.
Well, Klopp didn't win with that team, right? They made no signings, I think, except for Chiesa, who never played.
Okay.
So I think people are very quick to dismiss his achievements. Slot did an incredible job coming into that team and doing what he did.
Yes.
I do think he was left with some amazing tools, and that's not to say Klopp couldn't have achieved that, but in that first season, we did play with more control, more pragmatism, while still having that attacking talent.
Okay.
I do think the league shifted, though, where that style didn't work as well this past year, where teams were much more direct, took us on the break. All over the pitch, like our midfield was porous, our attacking output dropped off a cliff, and our defense looked terrible. And I think he just didn't have the fixes, but I think people need to give credit where it's due, where he did an amazing job molding that team together. And again, I mentioned the Jota things. All the things that happened in that offseason, people forget. Like, people keep saying, oh, he wrecked the team. Slot's not responsible for recruitment.
Right.
That's Michael Edwards, the director of football for FSG, and Richard Hughes, our sporting director.
Okay.
And I think people don't really... This is not to be dismissive. I don't think people really understand how FSG and most big football operations, like City Football Group with City and all these other operations operate.
Okay.
It's very pragmatic. There's a lot of layers. Slot was a head coach, not a manager.
Okay.
So all that to say, I'm not making excuses for him. The amount of expletives we had in this very space this past season during games for us, just like, what are we doing or not doing? I think he just didn't do enough to save his job ultimately, but I don't want to dismiss the great things he did for us, especially that first season.
Sure. And when we had talked before in the season, I really felt like the death of Jota was something that I was surprised how rarely it was brought up by pundits in talking about the things that were affecting the team. The other thing is with Isak and the injury, I mean, even before he was injured at the beginning of the season, he wasn't fit. He wasn't ready to play. It just kind of seemed like the injuries, that part not being ready, that it just, I don't know, it just felt like it got off to a bad start that we just couldn't recover from. Yeah. So.
And the irony is, we were so lucky those first 5 games. Those last minute winners, we were like, what voodoo magic are we doing to achieve all these wins? But and you nailed it. Like, so we spoke about this very thing, I think, during that Spurs game, right? Which, let's not talk about that too much.
No,
but,
awful.
You know, I think a lot of people are quick to dismiss the Jota thing, and it's not it's not being fixated on the grief, but truly, like, he was such a good mate of theirs, and you're missing that connection. And he was a good player. That's the other thing. We missed that kind of attacker.
Yes.
We sold Nunez. We sold Diaz.
Yes.
We were missing that presence up front in Jota, and we had no attacking depth.
Yeah.
I think, and this is where I struggle with, I think, a lot of online fans. There's no nuance or gray. Two things can be true.
Yes.
Slot didn't do enough this season to warrant keeping his job, but he also had a really bad hand dealt to him. And I think that's where people there's a little bit of a disconnect of the Jota death, the injuries. I mean, Isak, he broke down several times before he broke his leg.
Right.
Ekitike at the end of the season, ruptured Achilles. Like, Wirtz has taken a while to get going. Salah fell off a cliff. So, aside from Szoboszlai and maybe Rio, who's still raw, no real Liverpool player can really say, hey, I had just as good a season as last year. So, all that to say, I think it was time for Slot to go, but I don't want to dismiss the great things he did last season and the fact that he did have a lot going against him this year.
Yes, 100%. So, outlook for next season. What do you think?
Hope. Always. It's the hope that kills you, right? I think people need to be realistic.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to compete for the league. I hope I'm wrong. I think a realistic target in Irola's first season is let's just secure Champions League.
Yes.
I think what's going to be more important is how we do in the other cup competitions, specifically Europe.
Okay.
People also have to give him some time because he has never managed a European campaign in addition to a league campaign.
Okay.
Champions League football is a really big step up.
Yes.
He's not going to have a week in between games to prepare his team. It's going to be that jaunt of weekend football, Champions League football midweek, same and same. I think more than anything, people just want to see better performances. And I think a lot of this is going to be interesting to see how he molds that team. I think in the cold light of day, though, it's also like, I hope that some of these players step up.
Me too.
Because so much was made of the manager, and there was very valid takes. But candidly, I think there weren't enough leaders and players stepping up last year. And that's where, that's not an indictment on Van Dijk and the other leaders in the squad, but all I'm saying is if we had a Gerrard, a Henderson, somebody else in that dressing room, they'd be ripping things apart.
Yes.
And that's not an indictment on Van Dijk. I think he's an incredible captain. But we need leaders all throughout that team stepping up and showing it on the pitch next year. Yeah,
it can't always be on the head coach or manager's shoulders. You have to have a leader on the field, on the pitch, who is doing that for you.
I mean, the amount of... and some people say, oh, well, that's coaching. Some of it is coaching. So my gripes, the amount of times we stepped off of players to let them have shots going on deflections and crosses drove me nuts. I don't know what that was. People were commenting on our press. Well, our press was terrible, but people were lobbing the ball over our heads. So you can't press if they're doing Route 1 football to a centre forward that's holding it up. But all that being said, I think players just were making... I mean, I don't want to do it here because I don't want to throw players under the bus, but the amount of stupid mistakes that international players were making week in, week out was a shambles.
Yeah.
And I think some of that you can chalk up to coaching, sure, but some of it's not tactics or formation. It's just players were just shocking for large parts of the season. So,
and that again, and I'm not making excuses, but I do wonder if things with Jota's death, with things like that can carry over. Grief is an interesting thing, and so I just don't know. But it was, and again, new fan, but just looked a lot different to me from the year before to last year. And the players and the fire and some of the things that I can't necessarily, I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it looks different. So, very good. All right, anything else you want to add? Anything, again, we're out there trying to get new fans. So for anyone out there that's tuning into the World Cup, watching some teams play, says, hey, I think this may be for me, why should Liverpool be the team that they choose to support in the Premier League?
Again, totally biased, obviously. I think the thing that's special about Liverpool, and there's a flag, we'll get on some B-roll here, it's the world's largest football family. I've been in airports around the world or on a consulting gig for work or wherever, and if somebody sees me in a Liverpool kit, wherever, you'll never walk alone.
Yes.
I just don't think, for a big team, I don't think you get that.
Yes.
Now, if I saw somebody in a Motherwell FC kit in the US, I'd be like, that doesn't happen very often. But I think, this is not to say a specific team, but a lot of other Big Six teams, if they saw someone in another team's top,
yes,
they wouldn't say anything. Whereas I think Liverpool truly is, there's that sense of connection amongst fans around the world.
Yes.
Even during the World Cup, we're actually having Liverpool fans from OLSCs around the world visit us here in KC.
That's amazing.
So we have fans from the Red Fellas group in Vienna, Austria. They're in OLSC. Fans from OLSC Netherlands and fans from OLSC Buenos Aires who are all going to be in town to watch their respective national teams.
That's amazing.
That's cool, right?
So cool. Yeah.
And we'll show on the B-roll here, but we have some scarves from mostly OLSCs from around the country.
Okay.
But also around the world. So I think just that sense of like connection that people get. And ultimately, like, look, I'm a big sports guy. I grew up playing soccer competitively, but we have fans that never played soccer in their life, and like, this is really cool. Like,
yes.
I love just getting to meet people, and it's really like beyond game days, people like hang out and do stuff, and we do fundraisers, and so it's just a really cool way where we're not expecting you to like know all the songs and chant and like be a soccer expert. Like, I love my wife. She has a great time here. She couldn't tell you the first thing about who's going to play, but she loves it because she loves the atmosphere.
Environment. And I think that is the thing. That's one thing I noticed from coming and watching with your supporter club is there's all kinds of levels of fans within it.
Yeah.
You have the very passionate, they know everything, they are questioning specific formations on the pitch. And then you have fans who are just like, hey, we're coming to Chicken and Pickle.
Yeah.
We're having a good time. I hope they win. I love my kid, whatever it is. So,
exactly.
And I would just say, too, since I've been a fan and since I've connected with you all, is the connection I have online with other Liverpool supporter clubs throughout the world, that I find on social media and interact with. And I think it's amazing because you can find them really in any country in the world. There are supporter clubs for Liverpool, and I think that's one of the greatest things, too.
Yeah.
So it's just been amazing. Well, I love that our love of Liverpool brought us together, and we're going to do some more content talking about World Cup.
Yep.
And then, of course, we will be back at it in the fall, and we will be doing more Liverpool content, and I hope to make lots of trips to Kansas City to be able to do this. So thank you, Kyle.
One more shameless plug.
Do it.
We are so our OLSC Kansas City group is going to be in Nashville for the Sunderland game.
Yes.
New York for the Wrexham game, and Chicago for the Leeds game.
Okay.
So if you want to hang out with some people from OLSC Kansas City, just let us know.
Yes.
But the big thing with our OLSC is some OLSCs charge a membership fee to like get access for certain games or whatever. The cool thing with our venue is if it's 6:30 a.m., we're here. If it's the Champions League final, this venue can hold up to 1,000 people across the venue. So you never pay money to watch with us. You can get your scarf if you want, but it's really open to all.
Okay.
And if you just want to come check it out, like we are known, like most of the staff here, we've gotten them their first Liverpool jerseys. So like, even if you're just soccer curious, come and join us for a few games and see if it's for you.
100%. If you don't know yet, what team you want to support, it is a great club to come and watch with. And I think, for fans who are just getting into the game, it's really hard to watch a match on your own. If you don't know what you're watching. And so it is one of the best things is to come and watch people who know about the sport and who will be patient with you and explain what's happening. And also just that passion of watching with other fans is amazing. So do come and check out some matches with these guys. Very good. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
We'll be back. We are back with Kyle Miles, and now we are going to talk a little World Cup. And we're going to start off, so to remind everyone, or if you haven't seen, Kyle has a connection to 3 different World Cup teams. And so we're going to discuss all 3 tonight, but we're going to start with Scotland. So, all right. So, before we hop into this, let's clear up for our American friends who are potentially confused about the UK, England, Great Britain, Scotland. Help break that down. We had a short with a fan who was trying to express their support for England, and they instead said they were supporting the UK in the World Cup. So for our American friends, give us a breakdown and help us understand that.
Alrighty. So it sounds complicated. It's not.
Okay.
So the United Kingdom consists of 4 distinct countries: Scotland, England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales.
Okay.
Great Britain is the countries from that island. So it is England, Wales, and Scotland.
Okay.
Okay. England is one of 4 countries that are in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So people interchangeably sometimes use the Union Jack flag for England. It's not the English flag. The English flag is the St. George's Cross.
It's the white with the red cross. Okay.
The Scottish flag is basically that. It's a white on a blue, so it's the saltire.
Okay.
The Welsh flag is the dragon.
Okay.
And then the Northern Irish flag is distinct as well.
Okay.
Also very different from Ireland. And this is another thing. People often think that the Republic of Ireland is part of the United Kingdom. It definitely is not.
Okay.
And it's contentious, but Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are two distinct countries.
Okay.
So, very interesting politically, but ultimately all you need to know is, in this World Cup, England and Scotland are the 2 countries that have qualified from the United Kingdom.
Yes.
They don't like each other on the football pitch. Some of Liverpool, my favorite team's greatest ever players, Kenny Dalglish, Alan Hansen, Graham Souness, the recently departed Andy Robertson.
Yeah.
All big Liverpool players. Liverpool, Scotland, England, all very different things. Okay. So multiple things can be true. I can love Liverpool and not want England to win the World Cup.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a lot of the source of confusion. All you need to know is Union Jack flag, not England.
Okay.
It's the United Kingdom.
Okay.
And the United Kingdom don't play in soccer.
And so, a dumb question since we're on it, but there's no flag for Great Britain. Is that true?
People will use the Union Jack.
Okay.
But the Union Jack ultimately is the 4 constituent parts of the United Kingdom.
Okay.
But the Union Jack is used for Great Britain almost invariably.
Okay. Okay.
Which is, if you look at it, it's the flags of Northern Ireland, Scotland, and England combined.
Okay, if the shot has changed a smidge, it's because we had a little camera movement. But
England fans,
that's
tell you
right.
what.
Yeah, trying to take out the talk of Scotland. Okay, good. So that clears it up. It's clear as mud.
Yeah. Well, and people this happens a lot. They're like, you love Liverpool, right?
But you don't want...
like, it's like, well, they're different things, right?
Yes.
And like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate the English national team. It's just, if you're asking me, do I want them to win? No. I want Scotland to win, but I'm also realistic. So, anyways.
And I think one of the things that happens in the United States is that we just don't have that. We don't have that rivalry with other countries, first of all. It's just a weird... Most of our sports are within the United States.
Right.
We're not a huge unless it's the Olympics, and obviously we are growing football here, so the World Cup has more meaning, but with you all, it is so historical, it's political, it's all the things, and then your countries have been playing football against each other for a really long time.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not, I want to be clear, it's a football rivalry for the most part. My Scottish cousin is married to a great English guy. Some of my best mates are English.
Yes.
It's not I hate like thing.
Right.
It's a sporting rivalry, which is clearing up thousands of years of inter-island conflict between Scotland and England.
Yes.
So that's what it is. Like any great any great sports rivalry, they take care of it on the pitch. It doesn't have the some of the undertones that other sporting rivalries have on a national scale.
It doesn't spill out into the streets afterwards. It's going to handle it on the pitch.
It used to a little in the 70s, but not anymore. So.
Very good. Okay, so tell us how you're feeling about Scotland's chances in the World Cup, what you expect out of them, and how exciting it is for them to finally be back in it.
So I'll answer your last question first. Incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
Scotland for many years were a mainstay in the World Cup. They had, and I'm not being deluded here, they had some teams in like 74 and 78 that probably could have won the World Cup. They had, Dalglish, Souness, Hansen, like they had some phenomenal players. 98 came around, and that was their last World Cup until this one. So they went 28 long years.
Wow.
Which is, Scotland is not a big country. There's more people in Missouri than Scotland. Scotland's population is 5.5 million.
Really?
But historically, it outpunched its size because football is life there, right? So I think the fact that they've made it after such a long absence is phenomenal, and this will be their third major tournament in a row. They went to the Euros, then they went to multiple Euros, and now the World Cup. So Steve Clark, their manager, has done a great job. So the fact that the Tartan Army are at their first World Cup in 28 years is phenomenal. Boston, where they're playing 2 games, is going to be a riot. So if you're around Boston, just go there and see the Tartan Army in full flight.
Just be part of the experience.
Yeah. I do want to be realistic, though. They're in a really tough group.
Yeah.
They should, if they play well, hopefully they'll get a result against Haiti. Morocco are very tough, and Brazil are very tough.
Yes.
And I think this is the 5th time they're playing Brazil in a World Cup, which I think the 90-98 opening game, if I'm not mistaken, was Brazil-Scotland or something like that. But it's a tough group.
Yeah.
However, because they've expanded the tournament, they could be in a position where being the best, one of the best third-place finishes will get them into the knockouts.
Okay.
Because there's there's so many teams in the knockouts.
Yeah.
It's like, 32, whatever it is.
Yes.
So that's going to be a lot. That's going to give them an opportunity to actually make it past the group stage for the first time in their history, which I think this is their 8th World Cup, and they've never made it past the group stage.
So hopefully this year.
This is the year.
Hopefully this is the year. That's amazing. Tell us, who do you, for new fans, who are some players they should pay attention to and look for?
Andy Robertson. So one of my favorite former Liverpool players. He just signed with Tottenham. Great player. He's their captain. But their midfield, so they've got Scott McTominay, used to play for Man United, now plays for Napoli. He's torn it up in Serie A.
Yeah.
John McGinn.
Yes.
Super John McGinn plays for Aston Villa. Incredible player. And a couple, so those are some of the household names in the Premier League. There's a couple other guys like Kenny McLean. A lot of their players in the back line aren't really well known. A lot of them play in the Scottish domestic league.
Okay.
Craig Gordon, Hearts keeper, is like 43, so I think he's one of the oldest players at this World Cup. They've also got Liam Kelly, and I think it's Angus Gunn. All older keepers, don't get a lot of game time, but I think they'll hopefully bail us out. And then some interesting ones. So Shea Adams, Lyndon Dykes up front, and then Lawrence Shanklin, who almost got Hearts their first Scottish title in like 60-plus years. He got pipped by Celtic. They got pipped at Celtic on the final day. He just signed for Rangers. But they're a very workmanlike team across the squad, so they don't have many superstars, but they have a lot of players that have played together for a really long time. And I mean, they had that incredible game against Denmark to seal their World Cup qualification at Hampden Park. So a lot of decent players, but not many world beaters. Let me put it that way.
Just kind of the superstar. But do you feel because their team is built that way, do they have the ability to kind of plug in and plug out, where you don't have a lot of drop off if you are subbing out or someone's injured or something happens? Are they kind of more level all the time, no matter who's on the field. Is that fair?
To a degree.
Okay.
So I do agree. I do think they're greater than the sum of their parts. Unfortunately, Billy Gilmore just got injured. He also plays for Napoli along with Scott McTominay. He got injured in the Curacao friendly a couple days ago.
Oh.
So he's out of the World Cup, which is a big miss.
Yeah.
So if hopefully this does not happen, if McGinn, McTominay, Robertson, Tierney, some of these players go down with a big injury, that's going to be a really tough blow. But they have enough depth. I think we're taking, I mean, not against Haiti, but I think we're probably going to play with a back five against Brazil and maybe against Morocco. So we're taking a lot of defenders. So they've got a lot of depth in a lot of positions, but they don't have a lot of superstars.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And tell us when is their first game?
So first game is against Haiti.
Okay.
That's going to be in Boston.
Okay.
Their next one after that is against Morocco, also in Boston.
Okay.
And then their last one is against Brazil and Miami.
Oh, Brazil and Miami. That'll be big.
Yes.
So super exciting. Tell us. So you have family. Remind us your connection to Scotland.
Yeah. So my mom was Scottish.
Okay.
She was born just outside Glasgow.
Okay.
I started school in Glasgow as a 5-year-old before moving back to South Africa. And half my family is Scottish.
Okay.
And the part of my family that is South African, most of them were originally from Scotland anyways. So when I do my kind of like 23andMe, I'm like 99.8% British and Irish Isles and like 95% Scottish. So, yeah.
Okay. And so for your family that is, you still have family in Scotland?
Yep.
What are their thoughts? How are they feeling? Are they super excited? Are they just, how are they feeling about it?
I think a lot of the emotions that I reflected, it's kind of not relief, but like, not that you just want to make up the numbers, but like putting it in context of Scotland is a small nation, but it's a proud nation. So the fact that they're back at the party is amazing. I think more than anything, just letting Scottish fans experience this.
Yeah.
The Tartan Army has a really good reputation for being really welcome. Like, they got such a good reputation at the Euros in Germany. The Germans were like, hey, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of fun, but they behave themselves, and I think that balance is really cool. So, my Scottish family are really stoked. Some of them are coming out for it. Some of them wanted to get tickets for it and couldn't because those tickets are like gold dust.
Yes.
But it's going to be incredible. And also just for the diaspora, right? And I know some people scoff at this, but there's a lot of like Scots Americans or people with Scottish heritage here that they're like, this is really cool. Like they're probably supporting the USA, but they're like, a parent or a grandparent or just going back, 100 years. Their family's from Scotland, so I think it's cool because it is a small nation, but like I said, it outpunches its weight. So hopefully they'll get some good results and make it out the group, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's super exciting. So the university that I graduated from in the town I now live in, again, our head men's soccer coach is from Scotland.
Oh, great.
And Ben Taylor, shout out to Ben Taylor. We interviewed Ben early on this year, and he is super excited about it. And one of the cool things that happened, so they just had a soccer camp for little kids. And Ben shared on socials a note that one of his campers had written him, thanking him for camp. But at the bottom it said, "Go Scotland."
Love it.
And I think that's one of the great things. Obviously, this is an American kid, but I do think that's one of the things that's fun is to connect to these other teams that are coming and to be able to just root for other teams. Obviously, I'm going to root for the United States whenever they're playing, but I have a rooting interest in other teams too. Makes it more fun. All right.
Same here. And for anybody that wants to, definitely if you're Scottish or part of the Scottish diaspora, or if you just want to see the Tartan Army in full voice, we're going to be meeting at Llewellyn's Pub in Lee's Summit for all the games. So the St. Andrews Society of Kansas City is organizing watch parties at Llewellyn's Pub in Lee's Summit. So join us and get there early.
Perfect. That sounds like so much fun. Will there be kilts? Are people wearing kilts?
Mine.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I love it. All right. that is our update on Scotland. We will be back because we still have 2 more countries to talk about.
See you there.
All right, we are on to country number 2 of Kyle's list of countries that he has an interest in.
You can say that. Yeah.
That he's supporting in some way or another. So now we're going to talk about South Africa, which is where you grew up and spent most of your formative years.
That's right.
And so tell us about South Africans' history with the World Cup.
Yep.
And what you expect for this year.
Yeah, so a couple things. Obviously, South Africa is an amazing place, beautiful country. If you've never been, highly recommend going. It has a complicated past, so there were quite a few World Cups South Africa did not go to, especially during apartheid. But since I was young, we had some great players in the 90s and early 2000s. We obviously hosted the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, which is when I met my wife.
Yes.
So South Africa... South Africa is a sports mad country. It loves soccer, it loves rugby, it loves cricket. There's elite sports people. We outpunch our weight in sports like golf, etc. But I'd say the 2 big things that we're an international power in rugby. No one's ever won more Rugby World Cups than us. And soccer, I would say, is for the most part, the major part of the population follows soccer.
Okay.
Now, we haven't been necessarily successful historically. We did win the Africa Cup of Nations when I was growing up, but we haven't really kicked on and done really well at major international tournaments, specifically the World Cup. We didn't make it out of the group in the 2010 World Cup, which was disappointing. I think this year's the year, hopefully. We'll see. But South Africa is incredibly passionate about sports and incredibly passionate about its soccer team. So the nickname is Bafana Bafana, which means the boys, the boys.
Okay. I was going to ask you what that means. So, okay, that is exciting. How do you feel about kicking off the World Cup, right? You're the first game, yes?
First game, and so I mentioned the 2010 World Cup.
Yes.
The opening game of the 2010 World Cup was Mexico, South Africa.
Okay.
So we're kicking off the World Cup again. But instead of it being in Johannesburg, this time it's going to be in Mexico City against Mexico at the Azteca Stadium.
How did you fare in 2010 against Mexico?
We drew.
Okay.
So I was watching that game in a pub in Stellenbosch, which is the university I went to.
Okay.
I'm surprised the roof didn't cave down on us because it was absolute limbs everywhere. When Shabalala hit that ball in to go up, it was an absolute scene, and we were unlucky in that World Cup. We could have made it out. We were talented enough to make it out.
Okay.
I think we have a strong enough team to make it out of the group this time. We don't have an easy draw, right? Mexico and Mexico City.
Yes.
And then we play Czechia, and then we play South Korea. So all good teams.
Yes. Yes. So players that new fans ought to be looking for, paying attention to on the South African team.
Yeah, so if you follow the Premier League, a guy like Lyle Foster.
Okay.
So he, unfortunately, he's just gone down. I don't know what's going to happen in the off-season, but he plays for Burnley. I think he's still at Burnley.
Okay.
A lot of guys in the South African domestic league, though.
Okay.
So here's where... And I am proud about this, and people forget this. A lot of teams at the World Cup, African teams, a lot of their players aren't actually from the country. They have ancestry, right?
Yes.
So, like, Curacao, most of Curaçao's players weren't born in Curacao. They all are in Dutch youth academies.
Yes.
That is a lot of the case. Algeria, Morocco, a lot of those North African countries have a lot of players that were born in France and or went to French football academies.
Yes.
South Africa, every player in South Africa's team is born in South Africa, homegrown.
Okay.
So they don't have players that were born in France and went through like PSG's academy and then just play for Algeria.
And then come and play for
So now that's not a knock on those teams, to be clear.
Sure.
But South Africa is like, it's homegrown players. They all grew up there. Most of them still play there.
Okay.
But they do have smatterings of players from around leagues in Europe and a couple of Premier League players. I will say, though, this team doesn't have the household names that we had back in the day.
Okay.
In the 90s, we had like Lucas Radebe, who used to play for Leeds, Benny McCarthy, Quinton Fortune, who played for United. So we don't have like a lot of those household names we used to, but we do have a very similar to Scotland actually. Greater than the sum of its parts, very workmanlike team. So, yeah.
Very good. So we talked about that you have family still in Scotland.
Yep.
I'm assuming you still have family in South Africa.
Yeah, so my dad's still in South Africa, and all my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
And then, that's where I spent all of my formative years pretty much aside. So I started school in Scotland when I was 5, but then started school in South Africa when I was 6 again.
Okay.
And all my mates, like from high school, university, most of them still live there.
Okay.
So I feel a lot of affinity for the country. Love going back anytime I get a chance. So yeah.
And so how are people back home feeling about the prospects for the team this year?
I think they're feeling similarly to how people in Scotland are feeling.
Yeah.
It's glad we're back in it because South Africa hasn't been in the World Cup since we hosted it in 2010.
Okay.
So it's been 16 years.
Okay.
I think a lot of the same feelings. South Africa's a talented team. We didn't do as well in AFCON as we should have.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how these players blend and show up. I think South Africa's talented enough to do it.
Okay.
But Mexico, Czechia, and South Korea is a hard group.
Sure.
So excited to be here. It's going to be a party. I think they have realistic expectations, though.
Okay.
And I think making out of the group would be an achievement for
Okay.
Bafana Bafana.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
South Africa and Mexico are kicking the whole thing off on the 11th. Is that correct?
2 p.m.
11th?
11th.
Okay.
2 p.m. Central Time on the 11th
Okay.
to kick off the World Cup.
Okay, and then where are and when are there other group stage games?
Yep, so the other group stage games are going to be the 18th against Czechia, and that's at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Central Time.
Okay.
And then the last one is going to be against South Korea in Guadalupe, and that is 8 p.m.
Okay.
Central Time.
And so if you cannot go watch South Africa in person and you live in the Kansas City area, is there a way to watch their matches with other South African fans?
There is. So I'm organizing all of the South Africans in Kansas City watch parties.
Okay.
We're going to be doing it here at Chicken and Pickle. Now, Chicken and Pickle is a huge venue. For the opening games, we're actually going to have a massive, massive outdoor screen in the parking lot here. The whole venue, all 70-plus TV screens are going to have game and sound on. Specifically for our South African diaspora, we've reserved the entire rooftop level for all 3 games. So we'll have a private watch party for specifically friends of South Africa.
Okay.
And then for every game, we're going to be here irrespective.
Yes.
So yes, it's going to be an absolute party. Little sneak peek, we're going to have Nas Botha, who's a former South African Springbok rugby captain and World Rugby Hall of Famer. Him and his family, he lives here now. He is the director of rugby for the Kansas City Blues, and he is going to be joining us for all games. So
that's amazing.
If that's an extra nugget to get you South Africans out here to meet Nas, that would be great.
That is great. And I will say, I think one of the things that Americans are going to be so surprised by and is the thing that's going to help them really fall in love with the nature of this world sport is the culture that comes along with it for all the different countries.
Yes.
In just from watching AFCON or watching the Euros, it's one of the things that really has helped me fall in love with the game is just seeing the culture and the support and the fan bases, and they all have their own distinct personality.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward. I'm going to come and watch one of the matches here with you on the 24th.
That's right.
And I'm looking forward to getting to spend time with South African fans and just getting to be around that culture. I'm really looking forward to it.
And it's, to segue off your thought, some countries are very homogenous, right? And I don't say that in a bad way.
Sure.
South Africa's a lot like the USA in that it's a melting pot.
Yes.
So when you're on the 24th, you'll see people from all walks of life, races, creeds, and I think that's a really cool thing. And to your point as well, we were talking about Scotland earlier and the Tartan Army.
Yeah.
The vibe they bring is amazing, and they're going to have bagpipes and kilts. South Africans, it's going to be rhythm in the stands. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Hopefully some South Africans can sneak in a vuvuzela or two. and I think that's going to be, and that's just a cool thing about the World Cup in general. We're going to have the Dutch in town, Algerian town, Austrian town. it just seeing those distinct fan bases and what they bring, I think, is what makes it such a special tournament.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I am most looking forward to with the World Cup. And for Americans to get to experience that in person firsthand. And this would be my time to make a plug that if you aren't going to a World Cup game, or even if you are, to go to a fan fest or go to a watch party like this. Go and immerse yourself around people who are fans of the game and just soak it up. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and I think, just so people know, in Kansas City, you can get premium paid tickets, but all the fan fests are free.
Yes.
So the main fan fest at the Liberty Memorial, that is free access, so make sure you get tickets.
Yes.
There are additional mini fan fests around town. So the main official one that FIFA are doing is at the Liberty Memorial. There's going to be several ones at Power and Light. There's going to be ones here.
Yes.
All games are going to be on at Chicken and Pickle as well. If people just didn't know where to go, every game will have sound on. So really everywhere is going to have the games on. But make sure you're getting out for some of those bigger ones and like experiencing that with other fans.
Yeah.
Especially when some of where the games are actually here. So, for example, one of my good friends, Daniel Urt, he's the orange suit man.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to come here. We're doing the march through downtown KC with the Dutch fans. So just come out and see that.
Is that going to be on the day of...
It's going to be in the day of the game.
Okay.
Now, they're not soldiers, so they're not going to be able to march from downtown all the way to Arrowhead Stadium. But it's something cool to see. I remember that when the Netherlands played in South Africa, in Cape Town against Cameroon. I watched that.
Yes.
I watched it with my family and friends, and the game was amazing. But seeing those swarms of Dutch fans in orange and doing all the things, like, I'm not from the Netherlands. Obviously, Liverpool have quite a few Dutch players, including the captain. But just seeing that fan base, like, I think, again, to your point, like, that's what makes it so cool. So
it makes it so cool.
Even if you can't go to a game, just go out and experience the streets in the city while you're here.
Yes, and meet some of those fans, 100%. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm kind of sad because I'll be working the Netherlands game, so I can't come and watch them do their thing. But
you'll get to see them.
I can't wait. Yeah,
I'll be at the Tunisia game.
Yes,
I'll be there. So we'll meet up maybe before or after.
Yes. Sounds great. All right. Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to coming and watching South Africa with you, and I'm wishing them a whole lot of luck in that first match. It would be great for them to kick off the whole tournament with a win.
Amazing. And again, you don't have to be from South Africa. Come, enjoy, watch Bafana, and have a good time with us.
Very good. Sounds good. We'll be back with one more team.
See ya.
Okay, we're back for team number 3 on Kyle's list of teams that he has passion for and cares about. And he is at least wearing red, white, and blue in U.S. soccer. I am wearing Team Argentina. But we're going to watch the Argentina game, so that's my excuse. So, been watching. Did you watch the friendly today?
I did, against Germany.
Yep. And what were your thoughts coming off of that?
All I can say is, man, Anthony Robinson, Jedi, that wonder goal, what a hit.
Yes.
I dream about scoring goals like that. Performance overall, it's a friendly.
Yeah.
I think there were stages where both teams were getting out of first and second gear, but got a little chippy at the end there.
Yeah.
It was an okay performance. But it speaks to what we spoke about when we spoke about this topic a couple months ago, which is I think the U.S. are a talented team. I think they've got a lot of great athletes in there. I worry about what's going to happen when they're coming up against an elite team in the round of 16 or the quarters.
Yes. And we've talked about this before. They have a fairly favorable group stage. Nothing's easy in the World Cup, but they should be able to get out of the group stage if they play well. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think unlike some of the other teams we've discussed, South Africa and Scotland, I think the U.S. got not lucky, but I think they got a favorable draw.
Yes.
They should top that group. If they don't top that group, that would be a massive disappointment.
Okay. And so obviously also I was excited in the last friendly to see Pulisic have a little bit more success. He seemed to be playing better. I think he had an assist and a goal.
Against Senegal?
Yeah, against Senegal. When I had watched him before in the earlier friendlies, I didn't feel like he was connecting. And then also I've been following him with AC Milan this year, and it hasn't been a great year for him. So do you agree that, I mean, he has to play well for us to do well? Do you agree with that, or do you think we have enough other talent that if he's not on his A game, we're okay?
I think if Christian Pulisic plays well, it will definitely help the US's cause. I think in a good way they're less reliant on him having to perform and drag the team with him than they may have been in the past.
Okay.
So I think if the US are going to go far, their top players, Pulisic being, a prime example, are going to have to perform consistently well and not go missing for parts of games or games.
Right.
But I don't think the US are as reliant on him to have to perform as they used to be.
Okay.
I think they've got a more well-rounded team.
Who are some of the other U.S. players that you think are going to have an impact on how they do?
So I definitely think, at least from the flashes I've seen, I think Weston McKennie is going to be big. I think a lot of these Italy-based players, right? So I think he just got a big new contract with Juve.
Okay.
Some of those defenders, so like Tim Ream.
Yeah.
He's obviously playing the MLS now, I believe. But he's named captain, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be a really big responsibility for him. I think some players that have been hit or miss in games are going to have to be more consistent. So like your Austin Trustees, who plays for Celtic, he had an up and down domestic season with Celtic. He's been up and down for the US.
Okay.
So I think a lot of those star players, as well as some of those kind of not fringe players, but players that may start, may not start, depending on what formation they go to, are going to have to do well. And their keeper situation, right? So this is I think the first time the US are playing in a World Cup where none of their keepers play in Europe. They all play in the MLS. Now that's not a problem, but I think it's going to depend on how they play. Like, these aren't keepers that are necessarily going to be comfortable playing it out the back, so I think they're going to play it a little bit more direct. All talented, but I don't know if they've got the quality in certain positions that are going to save them in games the way other nations do. So, I hope that they should progress out of the group stage.
But
I think they will get past the round of 32. But if they meet an elite team in the round of 16, I just think that I haven't seen it enough from them in the last 18 months or however long Pochettino's been in there, that they can really string a good set of performances against really good teams. So
I was watching, I think on ESPN, one of their pundits talk about the keys for the U.S., and he was saying historically the best player on the U.S. team when they do well is the keeper, because we are not a super prolific scoring team, and we are playing against teams that are, and you have to have a really good performance by the keeper. And combining that with what you just said about it being our first time of not having a keeper who is playing European football gives me concern now that I didn't have before this.
At least they're getting game time.
Yeah, that's
I was joking
true.
about Scotland. Craig Gordon, Liam Kelly, Angus Gunn. They hardly even play for their club teams this year. So at least these U.S. keepers all get a lot of regular game time. And I don't think the fact that they're not playing in a top league in Europe is necessarily a problem. My larger point with that is, some of these teams they're going to be playing against, especially in those later rounds, they're putting in the top corner and they're smoking them. So like that Jedi goal earlier, I still can't get it. What a hit! Now, I think I'm less worried about the U.S. keepers. I'm more worried about, can this team string enough good performances together back to back? Because I love Pochettino as a coach. I think what he did at Tottenham was exceptional. They were a bad game against Liverpool in the 2019 Champions League final from winning it. He is an amazing coach.
Okay.
I think he's doing the best he can with the players that he has at his disposal. Sure. I think these players just need to step up, though, and deliver. So
when we, with Chase, who is my resident expert, when we watched the USA-Portugal game, the friendly, and we left after that, and we were all really down about it and the performance. And Chase made the comment, he said, I just feel like when I watch the USA, that they don't know who they are, that they don't have a style. They don't have, and I think for him, because he follows so much Spanish football, and Spain and Argentina and club football in Spain, he feels like all those teams have an identity to how they approach the game.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that? Do you feel the same way, or is it just the USA has a style and it's just not a style we're used to? I don't know. That's it.
I don't know that the US has a style.
Okay.
I think part of it is just the playing group, right? So a good proxy is this: Steve Clark with Scotland. For better or worse, he is so loyal to those players, and those players play together so much. So there were some big omissions from that squad.
Okay.
But he trusts those players and that team to do a very specific thing. They have a very distinct playing style. Same with South Africa.
Okay.
The US, there are things they do, but I don't know that those. He is he's just testing out players, right? He's rotated that squad so much and tried out so many different players in different positions. I think he is still trying to figure out who is his best 11. And I think that makes it hard to have a distinct playing style, right? Because you have different attributes and skill sets who are trying to fit into the same team. So I think what the US are going to give you is they're very athletic. So it's a home World Cup.
Sure.
If you're ever going to step up, you're going to do it in your home World Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about, I know when Poch came in, he was kind of commenting on like, hey, in Argentina, people will die for that flag and that jersey.
Yeah.
He didn't see that when he came into the US team. And if I'm honest, I still have doubts about some of those players' ability to like walk over glass for that team. I think he's getting there, and I think a lot of those players, despite some of the results against like Germany, I think a lot of those players are those guys that are going to fight for the team. So even if they don't have like a very, dogmatic way of playing, I think more than anything, they just need like people that are going to step into that team and perform.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I think they may change things up, right? So Scotland may play a little bit different against Haiti than they are going to get against Morocco and Brazil. Because if they play the same way, they're going to get ripped apart.
Right.
I think the same will be true of the States. I think they're going to be the protagonists against Paraguay and Australia, maybe less so against Turkey.
Sure.
And then the further they get, Poch may have to change it up to make sure that, ultimately you want to perform and you want to see good football, but you also want to win. Whatever winning football gets us there.
You got to do what you got to do, no matter what it is. The W is what matters. Anyone that we didn't talk about that you think people ought to keep an eye out for on the USA team, or anything that you think if this happens, it would be concerning?
I think like any team, key injuries to key players would be a problem. This sounds funny, and it's not meant to be. I think the US's key player at this World Cup is their coach.
Okay.
I think Pochettino getting a tune, like the right 11, and making the right subs and striking that balance. I think some teams have played together so much, like South Africa, Scotland. Those players know what they have to do, right?
Right.
I think for Pochettino, because he's still trying to figure out who are the right players, what's the right positions, etc. I think I don't want to put too much on Pochettino because the players need to ultimately perform on the pitch.
Sure.
But I think he is going to be the key to the U.S. success.
Okay, very good. Will there be any USA watch parties here at Chicken and Pickle or in the KC area?
So every game will be on a Chicken and Pickle.
Okay.
All with sound on every TV.
Okay.
Couple cool things. So for the USA games, the Liberty Memorial is going to have a massive fan fest.
Okay.
Power and Light, which you always see them pan to during the national broadcast, it's going to be insane.
Okay.
And then for so all the USA games, they're also going to have watch parties around the metro here and in North Kansas City. But for the quarterfinals, they're going to do a massive street party here too with a big outdoor LED screen.
Okay.
Who knows, the US may be in that one.
Hopefully the US will be in that one. So very good. Well, again, thank you so much for spending time with me and talking about Liverpool and all of your countries that are competing in the World Cup. And I really appreciate your passion for the game, and I appreciate your openness to bringing new people in. I think that is one of the best things for new fans, is to find someone like Kyle who is willing to say, hey, come along and watch these games with us. And again, one more plug for the OLSC here in Kansas City. When we get back to league play, come and check out a game with them if you are interested at all. Again, you don't have to be a Liverpool fan, and we had an Arsenal fan here with us for one game.
Yep.
Come out and watch. It's just so much more fun, and it's a great opportunity to connect with people over the sport. So thank you again so much. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for coming.
All right.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys.
Bye.